What is going on, everybody? It's Alex coming back at you with another video. And today we are being able to do a 2-round mock draft because Matt Ryan was just traded. It made a big change in one of the picks. And of course, I actually wanted to change a couple picks from the one that I dropped earlier today. So if you guys are new, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Would love you guys to join the journey. It originally was 4K by draft day. We blew that out of the water, and then it changed to 4250 by draft day. We're about to blow that out of the water. So thank you guys so much for being an amazing, amazing family here. You know, of course, links are in the description for you guys to involve yourself even more. Instagram, Twitter, and a big Discord with over 130 people. I'd love to talk to you guys. Comment section, DMs, feel free to hit me up. But let's just try to, let's say screw it. Let's make the goal 4,500. I love it. And let's get into this. If you guys are trying to look for the earlier mock draft, I'm going to probably take it down. It just doesn't seem to make sense for you guys to watch something that's outdated and honestly something that I'm not really proud of. So let's kick into the number 1 overall pick here with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I think this one at this point, it has to be Aidan Hutchinson. I think that he's an extremely high floor player and he has all the technique that you're looking for. Very solid athlete overall. I believe he had over 9.8 RAS score, which is very well rounded. Like, yeah, he didn't run like a 4.5, but he ran in the 4.7s, which is still phenomenally fast for a man of his size. 10-yard split was off the charts as well. Has all the technique there. He came back from, I believe, a leg injury as well. And he was just able to be a true commander. Hopefully doesn't become a commander. God bless. But I still think the guy's phenomenal. I think that his talent is very, very, very solid. I do have him ranked as my number 1 edge player, even though I think KT has a higher ceiling. Aidan Hutchinson definitely graded out by far the best. And I do think he's an absolute stud. I do. So at number 2 with the Lions, they could be open to this pick being a trade. But this time, like when you're looking at the Texans potentially even sticking to Laramie Tunsil, there is like not really as high of a demand to try to skip the Texans for offensive line. And with the offensive line not going at number 1, you're kind of stuck in a situation where I don't think the demand for the number 2 pick is that high. I really don't. With all these free agency quarterbacks off the board, I really don't think that there is much demand for a quarterback. And like, so that takes away the Malik Willis idea. And I know people are saying Malik Willis might be the number 2 pick. I'd cry. I love Malik with a passion, but his ceiling's not even close to as high as you need to be looking for. Again, I would much rather go Sam Howell at number 32 rather than Malik Willis at 2. And I almost say I'd rather go Sam Howell at 32 than Malik Willis at 32, just because I think Malik Willis would put too much pressure on this team to start. Regardless, forget that last statement because I love Malik and he is my true number 1 quarterback over Sam. I still think this should be in this edge room. I do. I know that there's this no turd policy by Dan Campbell, but I also think that KT was not in a position where being better would have benefited himself or the team. The guy put up, I think, 10 pressures in the second half of the Cal game. And like, that's just ridiculous. I think it was on 22 snaps. You see what he could do when you get the max out of him. And I think Dan Campbell is that coach to do that. He's a player's coach, and that's a big plus. And I think KT kind of reserved himself because at Oregon, they did not even have a quarterback worth mentioning. I mean, Anthony Brown was like a 5th or 6th year senior. And I mean, his balls were absolutely terrible. But still, when you look at KT, his impact was amazing, but they couldn't do anything with it. So when he got injured, when he was already guaranteed pretty much to be in the top 5, if not the number 1 pick, I don't really blame him for deciding to not play 100% every rep. You know, guys get injured, and this is a selfish world. It is. And in the NFL, that is where you've made it. Now you have to prove yourself again. KT proved himself in high school and college. He's the number 1 guy in high school, arguably the number 1 in college. He doesn't have that anymore. He doesn't have everybody looking at him like he's going to be the best of all time. Now is his time to prove himself. I think Dan Campbell can get that out of him. I don't think there's anybody wanting to trade up to this spot. And unless you want to get Ikem Ekwonu here and put him at guard, I don't really see much of another option. Kyle Hamilton's phenomenal, but I really don't see the value of Kyle Hamilton at 2. When he tested that 40, yes, 40s don't mean everything, but to be able to justify putting a very low value position like safety up there at number 2, that is where that 40 would have come really as that final nail in the coffin. It's like, yes, you're the guy. KT is phenomenal. I know that there is that no turd policy. I just don't think that KT was a turd over at Oregon. I just think they realized that the effort he was putting in would be potentially hurting him in the long run. I think now is the time for him to show what he does every single week when he goes 100%, because he is the highest ceiling player, arguably, in the class. Number 3 with the Texans. Now, everybody's saying to trade back from the spot. And with some teams like the Panthers and the Falcons, and as well as the Seahawks needing a quarterback, I would not be surprised with them trying to trade up to 3 for Malik Willis. I mean, when you look at the quarterback class, you could go round 2 or end of round 1 for Sam Howell, Matt Corral, Des Ridder and stuff, right? That is possible. But Atlanta's looking in right now, and it's not official right now. Obviously, I'm making this literally about like 5 minutes after Matt Ryan got traded, which we'll talk about Matt Ryan in a second. I do think that quarterback should be on the table. And the Panthers just secured, if I'm not mistaken, a left tackle, or they're at least targeting a left tackle in free agency to bring him there to actually start, which means that they're not targeting a tackle either. I think Malik Willis would be a good option here. If the Texans trade back, you can be able to snag Travon Walker. You could snag potentially, you could go after Sauce Gardner. Hell, you could even go after Kyle Hamilton. There are guys you can go with that pick. And I think the Panthers are a good organization to be able to move up and at least secure their jobs. Remember, this is an organization that is kind of begging to save their jobs at this point. You know, everybody's going to get fired there if they don't succeed this season. They tried to go in all on Deshaun Watson. Like, yeah, I talked about Baker Mayfield being an option. It still is, in my opinion. It really is. I know that would make basically the quarterback hit $38 million. At the same time, I really do think it's worth it to try out Baker. I will just say Malik Willis, for the amount of picks that you need to move up, might be worth it when you're analyzing the potential drop-off after this pick. Now, do the Carolina Panthers need to gain picks rather than lose it? Yes, but at the same time, this is desperation mode. They lost out on the free agent quarterback room. And, I mean, hell, if the freaking Falcons are going to be going after Marcus Mariota, after, you know, obviously he was pretty much kicked out of Tennessee, it kind of shows that people are not very high in this class. And I think they know that Malik Willis might be gone by pick 8. And whether it's the Seahawks who want to move up for him or right here with the Panthers, I don't know. And you know what? I think this is the best move that we can do. The Panthers, I don't think, can afford to move up that far. I don't think they can. I don't think they have the pick value. We could test it out for sure. Again, I do this all live, guys. But I think the Seahawks might have that pick value. I think they do. So the Texans could be trading with, of course, the Texans should be down here. But let's see what the cost is for the Seahawks. Because when you think about it, they have a plethora of picks. And I mean a plethora of picks. I think I would assume it would be like maybe a first, a second round pick, and maybe a next year one to be able to get that through. And when you think about it, I think the Broncos pick's going to be worth a lot less. I do believe that should be just about worth it, a 1-2-1. And if you're the Seahawks, yeah, that second first round pick is going to be really nice in rebuilding your franchise, but your quarterback's complete cheeks. I don't think you're as terrible as maybe the Falcons are at the moment to where you can compete for Bryce Young. I would much rather go after Malik Willis now than CJ Stroud later. And you still have that first round pick and you still have that second round pick. So to me, I think that's worth it. You can ask for maybe a third in return. At this point, it doesn't really matter. But we are going to be going with this trade. We'll toss in that third just to make the algorithm happy. But still know, if you want to adjust the picks, we're only doing 2 rounds here. So that's the way that's going to roll. And we're going to go Malik Willis out of Liberty here at pick 3 with the Seahawks. Again, they have a lot of draft capital. You're getting somebody who I think his ceiling is going to be in that tier of Deshaun Watson. And I saw some glimpses, man. I saw it, did not see it with many of these other quarterbacks. I think Malik Willis would be phenomenal, especially now that you can actually sit him and have a quarterback battle there in Seattle with Drew Lock, who everybody knows this, and he's not the long-term answer, but he could be the short-term. While Malik Willis prepares to take over. Again, they've been used to somebody like Malik Willis there in Seattle for a long, long time. Number 4 with the Jets. I had to toss in a spicy trade in there that, I know nobody's going to agree with it, but still, you can only do what you can do. Number 4 with the Jets, I do think that maybe going edge would have been a good decision if KT were here. Everybody's saying trade back, trade back. People have to trade up. There has to be people willing to trade up here. And with all the offensive line on the board, the Giants are sitting pretty. They're saying, hey, screw it, man. We're gonna be perfectly happy here. I mean, there's nobody worth trading up for at this point, maybe besides Sauce. And I know you guys just signed, I'm forgetting his name. I think it's DJ Reed. I don't think that is a corner one. I really don't. I don't think you guys really think that either. Sauce Gardner, to me, isn't top 5 pick. I really do think he is. And I think he is a better version of Richard Sherman. I think he is Darrelle Revis. And this is a team that was consistently competitive based on Darrelle Revis's lockdown ability. I love Sauce Gardner with a passion. And I think that he's absolutely phenomenal. I don't know why there's so much hate for Sauce Gardner going in the top 5. This is a high-level position. And yeah, you can get edge over here too. I don't know what's up with the disease that is going through the Jets fan base that says Travon Walker is our guy. Could he go there and be great? Absolutely. 100%. But this is also a really deep edge class. You think about it. In the second round, you can go Cam Thomas, Boye Mafe, Arnold Ebiketie. Hell, in the third round, you can get Sam Williams or Myjai Sanders. You don't need to reach right now. Corners, they're not going to be that good after round 1, in my opinion. So I'm going to be going with Sauce Gardner here out of Cincinnati. Again, he's going to be gone by pick 10. You have to pick who you want now. Maybe Sauce isn't worth a number 4 pick, but he's not going to be there by number 10, and you have to secure your guy. I have him actually as my number 1 graded player in the class. I love Sauce Gardner. He can pair up very well with Reed and be an absolute lockdown pair. Number 5 with the Giants. Yeah, you guys are sitting very pretty. You guys are going to be going Evan Neal here out of Alabama. The guard spots are pretty much filled. So there's no real ability to get Ikem Ekwonu and just say, hey, why don't you stick around for a little bit at guard and then move to tackle? Just not going to happen. And I don't really think that forcing Ikem to move to right tackle after he's never played there is exactly the best scenario. Evan Neal's an athletic freak. The Bills last year, they brought on Spencer Brown, who was an athletic freak in himself, right? And obviously it shows that Brian Daboll likes athletic offensive tackles. Evan Neal is a freak, and he also dropped weight, so he's going to test out of the world. I love Evan Neal. I'm a little bit worried about him losing weight, but at the same time, I do think he's a phenomenal talent, has all the hand technique. He's the only tackle in this class to not have control by holding. All these other guys are holding outside the shoulder pads. They're going like this. Evan Neal, the majority of the time, is using his pop to be able to control a defender. Now, it might lead to not as efficient blocking, but imagine if he does learn the right time to grab. This guy's potential is higher than any other in the class, except maybe Ikem if he actually figures it out. At right tackle, I'm going to put all my money on Evan Neal. It sucks because I used to have him as my number 1 player, and he's arguably my number 2. Guy's phenomenal. Number 6 with the Panthers. Quarterback's not on the board anymore. I sure as hell would not be going after any of these dudes. At this point, you have to take what's best for your franchise, and I think personally going after Ikem Ekwonu would be the best move. You brought on Andrew Norwell. And again, I know I just talked out of kind of trading up for a tackle, but at this point you could move him into guard, which it was a big issue anyways, and have Brady Christensen out at tackle, have a veteran like Dwayne Brown out at tackle. You're making a move for the long run with Ikem. I don't think any of these other guys are really worth it. I don't think anybody wants to trade up for anybody at the moment. Like Kyle Hamilton, maybe, but I don't see any of these guys. Even Travon Walker, I think he's just getting a lot of hype. And when people watch his tape, they realize that maybe he's not as good as people are saying. I don't have him anywhere near my top 10, but I do love his athleticism. I love his freaky profile. This is a team that could take him potentially as well. You just lost Hassan Reddick, right? So definitely something I would consider at that point because, you can definitely develop an edge talent, but I think they really need to hit on something big. And the best thing that you can do is get Ikem Ekwonu. The best thing you can do. And whether he plays guard or tackle, I don't know, but it is best player available. And that's just the way it rolls. I just didn't really think the Panthers would take him. Of course, with the Seahawks moving up for Malik Willis, it kind of forces your hand. And again, I do think that his value over time is going to be well worth it. Number 7 with the Giants, edge rush should be a need here with Travon Walker. I'm tossing it up between Travon Walker and Kyle Hamilton at this point, though. Both are absolutely phenomenal players. And you just released Logan Ryan. To me, that kind of screams that you want to go Kyle Hamilton here. I really just do think that's the best value. Again, Boye Mafe is not a million miles off from Travon Walker. He's not. And Sam Williams in the third is not a million miles off from Travon Walker. For the value, Travon Walker is not a very good pick. Like when you think about the potential opportunity cost, it's not. Versus Kyle Hamilton, yes, you can get Jaquan Brisker, Lewis Seen, Jalen Petrie, or Daxton Hill. Somebody's going to be there. But nobody has the talent of Kyle Hamilton. And you need to lock down that secondary. You have Carson Wentz in that division. You damn well know he's going to be throwing the ball to some risky areas. I'd want a guy like like Kyle Hamilton, who can absolutely lock down. Like I had some issues with how far back he kept going back like 25 yards before the snap to get in position. But if he's able to make it work, he's able to make it work. Everybody says he's a generational talent. I think that he graded just below 1. And of course, with the poor 40, he graded out a little bit lower than that. But still a phenomenal player. Huge fan of him. Number 8 with the Falcons. Now, I know Falcons fans are going to die for Travon Walker. But you think about it. Pease came from Tennessee. Their biggest issue was pass rush the whole time he was there. It was. And I don't think Travon Walker, who's extremely raw, not ready to perform day one, is going to be your answer to that. I don't. And you could look at maybe a linebacker here, but I don't think the value's right, especially in a very deep linebacker class. I think wide receiver, I think there is a big drop-off. I do. And I know that some people don't like the Garrett Wilson pick. You could even go Drake London if you want. If they really want a boundary receiver, you can go Drake London, just lock it in. I'm going to go Garrett Wilson here. I think the guy's absolutely dominant. Your cornerback 2 spot filled up by Casey Hayward. Love that. Quarterback is supposed to be filled up by Marcus Mariota. Does not mean that you don't take a QB, but I still think that it certainly eliminates it from this contention, especially if you don't have Malik Willis on the board. So getting Garrett Wilson might be the best thing that this franchise can do for itself. The guy's easily my number 1 wide receiver, not grading wise. He's like 0.75 off of wide receiver 2, but you just look at him. He's built to play in the NFL. Great body control, great routes, great hands in general. Really good after the catch too. So I just love everything Garrett Wilson can bring to this team that is desperate for receiving talent. Number 9, you got the Texans on the board. And I kept crapping all over the Texans for going after Travon Walker. It wasn't because exactly Travon Walker was a bad pick to the Texans. One, I don't think that the edge position is the biggest need for the team. I don't. I think that you do have some guys there that potentially could develop. But 2, it was at number 3 overall. This is where you could take a shot. You got an extra first-round pick next year. This is where you can take a shot on Travon Walker. You could take a shot on Derek Stingley because he's probably going to be gone by pick 12. Like, I think Derek Stingley could be a very fun option for a team like this. But honestly, Trent McDuffie fits a bit better. Kyler Gordon next round fits a bit better. I'm going to be going Travon Walker. So, yeah, call me a hypocrite. I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. I do think that Lovie Smith could actually develop Travon Walker. I had that little anti-Texans bias. And there you go. I was wrong about that. I'm not wrong about the value at pick 3. But at pick 9, when you get somebody who he's just absolutely on another level in terms of his athletic profile, you look at it. He's 6'5", 275 pounds, and he has 35.5-inch arms. He runs a 4.5. Like, that is ridiculous. And the guy is super explosive. He can play inside or out. That provides a lot of value to a team like the Texans that could definitely use some help there. Number 10 with the Jets. I still think wide receiver is a big need for this team. I do. And getting a number 1 like Drake London is perfect. He can play in the slot. He can play on the boundary. Him, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, sign me up for that. Honestly, you now have a lockdown receiver, a lockdown corner, and a high-end receiver. I know edge is a big issue for the team, but you can still get those guys later on. This is a really solid defensive line class. Do not have that force you from going against the best players available. You need to be able to make the right moves for your team. Number 11, we got Washington football team, who again would have taken Drake London at that spot. So, this could be, I've heard rumors that Derek Stingley could be going to Washington. I don't really exactly vibe with that idea. Now, is that a reason not to take him? Absolutely not. But still, I don't think that that's the move. I do think linebacker is still something they could target. And Leo Chanel should be somebody that they're looking at. He's not worth this pick. Charles Cross is still here, though. And I think a team really should be moving up for Charles Cross. And I think that team could be the Saints. You're pretty much barren at left tackle. But, I mean, again, they are a NFC. We could see a team try to move up. This is, again, all live. I'm trying to see if maybe the Dolphins can make a huge trade package with Washington to move up and select a true left tackle. But Teron Armstead's coming to town. So given how Teron Armstead is coming to town, we very well might be wanting to go Charles Cross here for the Saints. But there's another team I actually want to try out. The Chargers. They lost Brian Bulaga, and I think that going after a star tackle to move to right tackle, that might be the best thing that you can do. I think that we'll actually put in a next year's second. I know this is actually not correct trade value, so we'll put in a this year fourth and a next year's second to move up. Again, you're getting a guy who I have top 10 right now, absolute stud at left tackle in Charles Cross. You have to be able to hit on this. Wide receiver, you got Mike Williams back for a year. That's where you can take a shot in the third round on somebody. That's why I wanted you to keep that third round pick. Charles Cross is worth a top 10 pick. I say he's worth potentially the number 4 pick. He has a lot of reps in pass pro. He's very, very solid overall. You can move him to right tackle, I believe. And now you have arguably the best offensive line in the NFL, because I really do think Charles Cross could be that day one impact if he continues to improve his anchor. Number 12 with the Vikings. Derek Stingley's on the board. I think that would be a phenomenal option, but we're not going to be going that route this time. Not this time. And we'll do a quick little check just so everybody, including myself, knows exactly who's on the board. We are going to be going after Jordan Davis here out of Georgia. Now, you guys might say that's absolutely insane, and I totally agree. If the coach was not coming from the Rams, who just had Aaron Donald, also Michael Pierce just came off the team. But when you also think about this, Jordan Davis ran faster than his number 1 corner on his team. His athletic profile is off the charts. You brought back Kirk for a year. Your offensive line is actually improving. You did a very good job gaining picks last year and still getting, not Ezra Cleveland, he's on your roster, but man, Christian Darsoff, one of my favorite prospects that draft. Now you can actually solidify the defensive front too. Edge could be a position you target, but not really my cup of tea. So getting Jordan Davis here would be an absolutely phenomenal move. I would say that's an A+ move for the franchise. I do think he could be a real game wrecker. I have him in my top 15. Number 13 with the Texans. Now, again, I don't really condone taking a shot on this wide receiver, on this corner, but Derek Stingley's on the board, and this team could definitely use 2 guys who, you could potentially bust out on both these targets, right? You can definitely get that. At the same time, when you look at what you could gain a number 1 edge rusher who could be dominant year after year, and you can get Derek Stingley, who could be arguably the number 1 player in this class. I think it's worth it. Again, how much of a downgrade would it be if these players both busted out? How much would it be? Not that much. We don't have very high expectations for the Texans, but if they both hit, holy crap, this franchise instantly turned around. You're going to have Matt Ryan in your division, which we haven't even talked about that yet, which I guess I could talk about right now. But you have Matt Ryan in your division. Who else? You got Trevor Lawrence, who's been a pick machine so far. And then you have Ryan Tannehill, who in the right moments becomes a pick machine. This could be the perfect recipe. And again, I really do think this is probably the right move. So let's go Derek Stingley here. Let's talk about Matt Ryan. And you know what? While we're at it, Deshaun Watson. Ooh, the Thunder's coming in. Welcome to Dallas, everybody. But, Deshaun Watson's trade, obviously he still has the 22 cases out there. I'm not going to put my personal input on it, but I'll just say this. The Browns paid a lot to get him. And if the civil cases prove to be damaging to Deshaun Watson's career, the Browns are going to pay for it anyways. So it's almost like karma is going to come their way, and they're going to get absolutely demolished if Deshaun gets banned a year, 2, 3. I mean, all of that's guaranteed, right? So there's that. But potentially the upside as the player, like regardless of the law, the player himself, he is on another level. So yeah, the Texans and the Browns, I think, both benefited from this. The Browns kept their second round picks. That's great for them. The Texans gained a ton of first round draft capital where you can take a shot on Derek Stingley. And you got rid of someone who didn't want to be there. I think it's a win-win. So that's that. With Matt Ryan, I mean, you saw the Colts have their best success with a guy who's a lot more of a game manager. So I really do think this is going to be an upgrade over Carson Wentz. It was for a third round pick. And I think that honestly, that value is pretty solid. You'll get another couple of years out of Matt Ryan. He's expensive, but I'm pretty sure that the Falcons take on some dead cap. So again, the Falcons, I think, are the big losers out of this deal. You know, you lost a guy who's really loyal to you and was very consistent. And he brought you to the Super Bowl. He was an MVP. Like, it just shows that sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side when you know that they should have known they did not have what it takes to actually lure him in over the Browns, over the Panthers as well. I know that it was really close to him choosing the Falcons, but when you really think about it, would Deshaun want to play with the Falcons after what they'd have to give up and with the roster they'd have after the fact, or the Browns who literally gave up absolutely nobody? People were saying that including myself, the Browns were Super Bowl contenders with Baker. He just upgraded it. So again, I think that like the Falcons are the biggest losers out of all of this. And I think the Colts are doing pretty damn well. They have extra picks from that Carson Wentz trade. Good for them. Good for them. Number 14 with the Ravens on the board. Yeah, we are not going to be going Jordan Davis this time because he's off the board. And it kills me because David Ojabo towards Achilles, and I love to send him here. And we might do that in the second round. We might. We'll see what happens there. But overall, I think that this could be Jermaine Johnson's pick. You lost out on Zadarius Smith, and you need an instant impact for a team that you need to remain relevant in your own division. There's a good chance the Ravens could be the last team. Them and the Steelers are kind of like going for that bottom pick right there. So making sure you have a day one pass rusher is kind of paramount at this point. I think Jermaine Johnson is an excellent pass rusher. And when you really just analyze what he could bring to the table, I mean, the guy is better than Travon Walker, and he graded out such. And I think that he just really does bring that instant impact that you're looking for. His ceiling is maybe not as high as someone like Travon, but you saw what he could do again in the Senior Bowl against even higher level NFL talent. They weren't that high, but the guy is still phenomenal. I love him to death. Number 15 with the Eagles. So Jordan Davis is off the board. I know that a lot of people didn't like that pick anyways, but I'm still looking here, and I think, is this the year? This is the year that they go Devin Lloyd out of Utah. Yeah, I think it's time. It's time for Howie to get out of his ways from 1979. Remember, you could always say they actually did pick a linebacker in the first in 1979. I think they do it this year. You know, releasing Alex Singleton kind of shows that they want to be able to develop that linebacker room. And that's a big, in my opinion, that's a big area of contention. I think that would be a phenomenal choice. Number 16, back with the Eagles again. I think Tyler Linderbaum could be this target. I really do. And Kelsey's back for 1 year. We all know he might not be back for another. And Brandon Brooks retired. So I really do think that there could be an argument to go with him here. That being said, I don't see him going at 17 or 18. So I don't really see the need to take him right now. The issue is, who is to take? Like, you've already gotten a linebacker like Kyer Elam in the equation. I love Kyer Elam. I just don't think anybody else is going to take him right now. I really don't. And to me, I think that would not really make me excited to go after Kyer Elam. But again, if you want to go after Tyler Linderbaum and Kyer Elam, one of them has to go. And I think the chances of Kyer being taken before Tyler might be a little bit higher. So let's go Kyer Elam here out of Florida. Ran a 4.39, guys. Like, yes, he had a down year. Watch him play. Honestly, watch him play. He was actually really damn solid this year, because I was like, okay, I'm expecting to give him a second round grade. This guy scored almost as well as Derek Stingley. And I think he fits so well in this defense. I really do. I actually have him graded equally in man and zone. And I really do think he could be a number one contributor to this team. Number 17 with Washington. I already telegraphed this move. And we could go Treylon Burks here. That'd be actually a really sneaky move. to get a big wide receiver. I think we might have plans later on, though. We are going to be going a linebacker here. We are going to be going Leo Chanel out of Wisconsin. No idea why the hell he is down there at 74. A lot of people are starting to put him as their linebacker 1 after more tape is watched. The guy ran a 4.3 or no, 4. That would be crazy. 4.53 40-yard dash. I believe he had a 40-inch vertical, and he put up over 40 reps on the bench press. He's ridiculous. Absolutely insane. I think he did like, I talked to Caesar about this. Caesar Williams, he's one of my buddies. He's a corner who's coming out in this draft out of Wisconsin. You tell me, I think that Leo put up 18 reps at like over 300 pounds on the bench press. Guy's absolutely insane. And he's 6'2", 250 pounds. He just fits exactly what you're looking for. Him, Cole Holcomb, Jamin Davis. That is everything you need. I have him kind of as like a poor man's version of Zaven Collins. That's only in coverage. I think he's better in the run game too. And he has a lot more effort, and I think he's a lot faster too. I love Leo Chanel. I think he could really be a real impact player. Is that a normal pick? Absolutely not. It's one of the crazy picks I want to throw in here because I think he's going to get that hype. I really do. A lot of these linebackers have a lot of talent, but Leo Chanel is just on another level in terms of his size and speed, similar to what we saw out of here in Trevon Walker. Number 18, we got the Saints. And the Saints, let's do a quick we'll do an inventory run. Inventory check. We'll look to see Devontae Wyatt's still on the board. He ain't fallen as far this time. You guys know that. We could definitely look at Tyler Linderbaum and Trevor Penning. Trevor Penning should be in this conversation for sure. But at this point, I think you look at Treylon Burks and Jameson Williams. People are saying Jameson's not going to have that injury tax. He was supposed to be the number 11 pick, apparently. So I'm going to go Jameson Williams here. I think he offers a really nice deep threat for Jameis Winston. That'd be a big plus for him. Now you have a really solid separator in Michael Thomas, and now you also have a really good deep threat in Jameson Williams. Building your wide receiver core to at least compete in this division is really crucial. Now that Tom Brady's back, you need to have somebody willing to fight day in and day out. And I love Jameson Williams' tenacity. He'll be back, and he'll be great. I think he's an amazing number 2, even though he grayed out as my wide receiver 8. If you guys don't want to know why, I have a video for that. Feel free to check out my top 10 receivers list. Number 19, back with the Eagles. And man, I kind of want to trade this pick away. I do, because I want to get Tyler Linderbaum here. I think he'd be a phenomenal option for this team. And I think he could play that right guard spot. I know we have Jack Driscoll there, guys. I do know that. And we also, Isaac Suamalu as well as there. I keep wanting to say Big V or like Big V for Vitae. I know he was a former Eagle, but regardless, I think that Tyler Linderbaum would not be a shabby option. But we could also go an edge here with George Karlaftis. And I just don't think that they're going to bring in a center when you just brought back Kelsey. It really hurts me because I really want to go Tyler Linderbaum, but you can get Karlaftis for this team. And now you have him, Sweat, and Reddick in a rotation. I do really think that would be a big plus. And I think you'd have to, if you're going to trade back with this pick, you'd have to get it before pick 23. I just don't see the Cards really passing up on Karlaftis at this point. I really don't. So we're going to go George Karlaftis here out of Purdue, getting 3 defensive weapons. Is that very Howie? Absolutely not. But at the same time, you have to realize that maybe Howie is starting to go out of his ways. We see Devin Lloyd off the board. We'll see what happens in round 2. Number 20 with the Steelers on the board. Wide receiver should be a position they target because I do think that there's a good sized vacancy there. And Treylon Burks could be quite interesting. You just lost Juju Smith-Schuster, who was not the fastest, not the best separator, but he was really good at the point of catch. And he was also pretty damn good after the catch. And he was aggressive. I've never done this before. We're going Treylon Burks to the Steelers. I just feel like he has that Steeler mentality. Guy's absolutely insane. I love him. Also, we got to get Devontae Wyatt off the board sooner or later. He's going to be coming off. Number 21 with the Patriots. This could be a corner here. You got Trent McDuffie, who definitely should be taken around this range. Kyler Gordon, Tariq Woolen as well. Corner is just such a big issue for the Patriots that they might have to go after one right now. And it's what I did last time. The question, I don't think the Patriots are a round one corner type of team. It's just not. They take good value. And when you look at Jahan Dotson or Chris Olave, it makes sense for building the receiver core that they're looking for. And to me, I think that Jahan would be a better option, but I think Chris just makes so much more sense to be that Devontae Smith to, again, you're also reducing the Packers options at wide receiver here, but you're Devontae Smith to Mac Jones. It just makes a little bit more logical sense, but this is going to be Jahan Dotson. Yeah, there's no bones about it. Aaron Rodgers is now in control of the draft room, and I think that his first order of business will be to select Jahan Dotson. Number 23, we still have Trevor Penning on the board. I think that team should probably try to make a move for him sooner rather than later. Corner still is here, and I do think that even after, I believe, getting Jeff Gladney, you still could definitely take one like Tariq Woolen. Edge, you still have David Ojabo on the board, which prior to Achilles injury certainly could be the pick. It really feels weird pushing him down the board. Offensive line, again, you get Tyler Linderbaum here. I just don't think that they're looking for a center when you have Rodney Hudson on the roster. Corner, again, Tariq Woolen's here. I'm going to pull the trigger on it. I think Tariq Woolen, his upside is just too ridiculous. 6'4", 4.26 speed, former wide receiver. He's going to be perfect for what you're looking for. And now you pair him up with Byron Murphy and Jeff Gladney. I think it's a good basis to start really being competitive in your division again. Number 24 with the Dallas Cowboys. This team is going to luck out. They get Tyler Linderbaum here. Oh, man. We're seeing it again. We're seeing Devontae Wyatt fall again. This team, I know the Bills are not going to be drafting interior defensive line at this point. They already brought on a couple dudes in free agency. They don't have an actual corner or two. I don't care about Saron Neal. And I don't know if I know Teron Johnson's also on the roster, but Andrew Booth just seems perfect for this roster. At the same time, Trent McDuffie did this last time. We're going to be going with Trent McDuffie here. Number 26 with the Tennessee Titans, who just traded for Robert Woods. This is going to be Trevor Penning. Why not? Why not? I'll just say that. Why not? Trevor Penning's an absolute stud, especially at this range. Definitely not going to be getting much better than him. At this pick, this was the one where I was like, damn, you got Zion Johnson and stuff here. You got to take that. They actually have enough right now as it is. Devontae Wyatt would be a perfect fit for this team. You know, you are losing Ndamukong Suh, if I'm not mistaken, and you have to go best player available. Even though you're trying to help out Tom Brady, you need to make sure that defense remains intact. Devontae Wyatt's too damn good. I just think that you have to. It's a necessity at this point. Devontae Wyatt out of Georgia. Number 28 for the Packers, which would have been a great spot for Trevor Penning, by the way. Let's see. I think Nakobe Dean could be a fun option here, but I do think edge is pretty crucial. Oh, they need someone instantly. I want to go David Ojabo here because he just fits so damn well. It's not even a funny joke, man. Like he's perfect for this team. He could be back. Again, he could go to Dr. Elatraj, who treated the Rams running back Cam Akers, and he could be back by the season. Oh, man. I can't draft a guy who just tore his Achilles here, right? You can't. It just makes so much sense, though. Like, he fits perfectly. This is the dilemma I have to live with all the time. I know, poor me, right? But, I mean, when you think about it, wide receiver, they're not going to go 2 wide receivers round 1. And I just don't see anybody else warranting that first round pick. I think this is where David Ojabo goes. I think he slips, but not out of the first, because I think the Packers understand that it's okay to wait. And also, David Ojabo is not going to be gone forever. And when you make that playoff push, he'll be coming back. And you have Preston Smith there to be able to be a great mentor. I mean, you also have Rashawn Gary there. David Ojabo, screw it. I think it's a perfect fit. Let's rock with it. Number 29 with the Dolphins. I think this is going to be probably Nakobe Dean. I really do think that's the right move. Let's go Nakobe Dean out of Georgia here. I do think that his ability to blitz off the edge is very, very beneficial to the Dolphins. I know they brought back a couple linebackers on 1-year deals. Those are 1-year deals. That's not 5 years like Nakobe Dean will be. We also have some quarterbacks still on the board, so we could definitely see one go in the meantime. This is the reason why I wanted to redo this, not just because of Devontae Wyatt, but because I accidentally took Dax Hill here. And it's 100% my fault to forget about Justin Reed. Do I think you can still go Jalen Petrie in the second or Nick Cross? Absolutely. But you don't spend a first round pick when you just spent $30 million on a safety. I get that. That's fair. So I'm going to admit I'm wrong. I still think edge is a big position of contention. Boye Mafe is perfect for this team. Again, you have Frank Clark there. Test out what Boye Mafe could do. Number 31, the team that no longer needs a tackle. The Bengals just signed Lyle Collins. Absolutely awesome. I love that for you guys. Corner still should be on the board. I think that trading back could be a really good option, though. I know that we had the the Jaguars trade up in earlier today's mock, but there's nobody worth doing that right now. I actually did that, funnily enough, for Leo Chanel. But man, at this point, if I'm them, like there's not really much you need to fix, right? There really isn't. And to me, that means that I kind of want to trade back, especially with a quarterback hungry team. And there's some great interior offensive linemen here. Honestly, the more I think about it, why not go Zion Johnson? Ted Karras got brought on, yes, but he was a backup center last year, and he was honestly a mediocre center. He was solid enough. He was serviceable for the Dolphins. Let's do it. Let's go Zion Johnson right here. I think that's a great move for the franchise. Number 32 for the Lions. I think a team should be trading up here to get that 5th-year contract on a quarterback. Kenny Pickett will not go in the first. That's my bold prediction. Sam Howell should. He has so much potential. He's ridiculously good talent. And when you look at teams that could certainly try to boost their stock by going with a quarterback in round 1, you could look at the Texans. You could. I just don't think that's a bright move. I really don't. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea. I would never shame them for doing it. But I could see the Packers. No, wow. I just saw NY. New York Giants. I could see them doing it. I could see, of course, I could see the Lions doing it too. The Colts just got their quarterback. But I could see the Falcons trying to move up here. I could. They have a plethora of picks now. And this is a good spot to test out someone like Sam Howell. That wouldn't be a bad idea. And you get that 5th-year contract. I think that is going to be a big twist. Now, yes, you have a lot of positions that you need to target 100%. And that is why I do think that maybe trading a next year pick would be better than going after, trying to go after this year's picks. I think rebuilding your franchise and at least being semi-competitive now is probably the best move. Edge rushers still should be a target, and we're still going to do that in the 2nd round. But we are going to be going Sam Howell here out of North Carolina. You know, he's somebody who's been comped to Russell Wilson by some people. I don't exactly see that. Strong-ass arm, arguably the strongest in the class. He and Malik Willis were the only 2 to be able to cut through wind and rain. Not like it's going to matter in a dome, but I still think that his mobility is a big plus, and that 5th-year contract is huge. You're able to keep the cap down. I just really do think that this roster is not ready to compete, and you need the pieces first. This is a good way to begin that, and losing a 3rd rounder next year would be honestly nothing criminal. So number 33 with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So luckily there's nobody so far. I'm doing a quick inventory check, guys, because we are doing round 2 right now as well. Nobody crazy coming in and falling out of the first. Nobody crazy. So at this pick, we've already went Aidan Hutchinson. I think that maybe going after another position is probably not a bad idea. You got Christian Harris here. You got Brian Asamoah, and you lost Foye. Oh, actually, no, they brought on Foye Sade-Aluakun. You lost Miles Jack. I can't honestly see any of these guys being like that, except Chad Muma being able to be that Miles Jack role. So I actually might trade back here. The more I think about it, the more I kind of want to do that. But Perion Winfrey's here, and his dominance, snap in, snap out, might be able to be such a lethal pairing when you put him with Aidan Hutchinson there on that outside. It might be a little bit foolish to go D-line, but at the same time, like, man, I really do think it's worth it. I do. So let's go Perion Winfrey here out of Oklahoma. Like, it seems like the right thing to do. The guy is insanely talented. So let's nab him right there. Number 34 with the Lions, who just traded back quite a bit. This is going to be a safety, and it is going to be Lewis Cine out of Georgia, 4.37 40, excellent strong safety. Brought back Tracy Walker. Give him a buddy who's worth playing next to him. Lewis Cine is that guy. Number 35 with the Jets. Again, I think going after interior defensive line would not have been a bad idea if Perion Winfrey were on the board. I mean, it just sucks that guard's not a big spot of contention here, because I would love to go after Kenyon Green, but that's just the way it rolls, man. It's the way the cookie crumbles. But edge rusher is a position to target. Arnold Ebiketie is a phenomenal edge rusher. Do not shit on his name. I will come after you. Guy's phenomenal. Great out as a 1st rounder for me. Number 36 with the Giants. I think that linebacker could be this pick. Would not be a bad idea. I'll put it that way. Christian Harris would be a really fun option. Brian Asamoah as well. I like Christian Harris's upside. We're going to go with that. I mean, again, they could go after an edge rusher. Who's on the board? You have some really good players, but I think that waiting to round 3 would be a not too shabby of an idea. Christian Harris is going to be that guy. Number 37 with the Texans, honestly, safety wouldn't be a bad option either. You got Jaquan Brisker, Dax Hill, and Jalen Petrie. Rather than getting Kyle Hamilton round 1, this would not be a bad place to go after another DB. That being said, you could try to bolster that receiving core with someone like Sky Moore or George Pickens. That would not be a terrible idea either. Guard-wise, Kenyon Green's on the board, and you know what? I'm going to take him. I really do think it's best player available at this point for the Texans, and you're basically making the offense better now, which I know it was actually a really big issue last year. You guys got shut out 2 games, and having a better offensive line, not a bad idea. And I think that if you ever do move on from Laramie Tunsil, Kenyon Green's I grade him as a first-round tackle. So you can move him as a left tackle. You can move him to right tackle if you don't want Titus Howard anymore. Regardless, I think Kenyon Green's heavily versatile. I think that would be a very big plus. So honestly, I think we're winning right now. Number 38, we're back with the Jets, and I think the Jets could be also going after a linebacker this pick, but safety is also a big issue for the team. I think going after Jalen Petrie, Dax Hill, or Jaquan Brisker would be great. Dax Hill tested out of his mind, and I think he could play a really nice safety there. So we're going to be going Dax Hill. We are actually going to be doing a Twitter check. Jacoby Brissett just signed a deal. Wonderful. Love that, because I want to make sure that we are fully up to date. So Zadarius Smith went to the Vikings. So that honestly, that's perfectly fine with me. I went after D tackle in round 1, and then Julio Jones. Nice. Like, I don't even see what Julio Jones was doing. He was probably defending Matt Ryan. So cool. All it's talking about is the Colts and Matt Ryan. So we're all good. Last time I was doing this mock, I actually found out David Ojabo tore his Achilles. You guys got to see that live. So that was a big oof. But the Bears are sitting here and no wide receivers coming to them in free agency. I would love to go after Sean Ryan or Tyler Smith here. And I kind of want to, and I'm going to. It feels bad, but Tyler Smith out of Tulsa, he should be a first-round pick. It's the bottom line. I think the guy's phenomenal. I think he has a future as a tackle, but he's going to be short-term a guard. And this is a perfect team. When James Daniels is gone, you have to invest in that O-line. It was absolutely crap. Number 40, you got the Seahawks on the board now with their star quarterback, Malik Willis. I think that would be – I love that. I love it for him. I think corner could definitely be a position they target. Andrew Booth or Kyler Gordon. I think going after Andrew Booth would not be a bad idea. Linebacker is in contention there, but get a higher value position when the linebacker class is very deep at the moment than kind of just like wasting it on a linebacker. Number 41, you got the Texans back on the board. This is the pick that we traded with the Seahawks so they can get Malik Willis here. I think that going after a wide receiver would not be a bad idea. Sky Moore, George Pickens, the guys who I want to target. We're going to be going Sky Moore out of Western Michigan. I think that his versatility would be great. I think he could be very Brandon Cooksy. And you know what's even better? You just took him away from the Colts. That was my big plan. So yeah, Sky Moore, really big win there for the Texans. Number 42 for the now Matt Ryan captained Colts. I think this could be an offensive lineman. You still have Bernhard Ryman here, and I think that'd be a very good option to stick in at left tackle. You don't need to do that, of course. I know edge rusher, you guys actually got Yannick Ngakoue for Rock Ya-Sin. So corner actually became a little bit more of a contentious pick for you guys. I think you got Rodgers there, and that's pretty much it. Again, I think wide receiver, you could get someone even like Wan'Dale Robinson, Khalil Shakir, not Alec Pierce. He's going to be going in this. Bo Melton, Justin Ross as guys that you can get. I'm just not very happy with this class. I'm going to be going Kyler Gordon here out of Washington. Fits the scheme like a glove. Very good in zone, and honestly, he's perfectly built for it. Perfect Rock Ya-Sin replacement. Now you got Rock Ya-Sin as well as, or not Rock Ya-Sin. You got Yannick Ngakoue and Kyler Gordon rather than Rock Ya-Sin and maybe one of the edge rushers here like Logan Hall, Cam Thomas. So I like it. Now we're at 43 with the Lions, and honestly, I'm looking at the guys on the board. I might want to trade this pick again, but linebacker is a position to be able to target. Chad Muma, I know that you're looking, I think DJ Shark was trying to recruit Miles Jack there. I think Chad Muma is going to be a perfect guy to fit in there and play every single down. Number 44 with the Browns, now captained by Deshaun. I think maybe taking a shot on DeMar Leal or Travis Jones would be the best thing for the franchise as a whole. You could go after another edge rusher for sure, and that wouldn't be a bad decision at all. But I also think that going after another wide receiver would be a good option for the team. And of course, if Sky Moore were here, I think that would be the best choice that you can do. Calvin Austin could be a fun guy, but you're thinking about bringing Will Fuller on as well. So you already have your deep threat and you already have a number one wide receiver. Alec Pierce could be the dude who sets you guys apart. Build a winning receiving core. Also, he's going to be the next pick to the Ravens. You got to defend. You got to defend yourself against having to face Alec Pierce. I have a first round grade on Alec Pierce, wide receiver 5. Again, if you guys want to see why, go check out the wide receivers video. To summarize it, I think that for his size and speed, 4.41, 6.3, and his route running ability and his ability just to go up there and get it, there's not many that can contest with him in this class. He really is pretty damn phenomenal. Number 45 with the Ravens. I was 100% wrong by saying Michael Pierce was on a 1-year deal. He's on a 3. That kind of pushes me out of going immediately into the DeMarvin Leal and Travis Jones realm. That being said, you also got a boundary edge and you still could use help on that inside. Again, Travis Jones would be a really nice guy to add in, but he's going to be more that nose tackle. I think DeMarvin Leal might fall out of this, though. He might. Corner could definitely be in the mix here. I just don't really like any of these dudes. I really don't. Wide receiver, you could go George Pickens here. Honestly, that wouldn't be a bad decision at all. Think about that. Rashad Bateman, George Pickens, Hollywood Brown. That would not be bad. We're going to do that. George Pickens out of Georgia here. I think he's phenomenal. He could have went here, but I do think Alec Pierce might. I mean, again, if you really are that bummed out about it, flip him. So you do you. I think they're both phenomenal. Number 46. I mean, quarterbacks are still on the board, guys. They are. I think honestly, the NFL has shown in free agency that these quarterbacks are nothing special. But with this pick, we're going to be going Jaquan Brisker out of Penn State. You lost your strong safety. I think bringing in a new one to just run the roost would be a very good idea. Number 47 with Washington. We could trade back again. I really do think we could. But Christian Watson seems like a guy that you could really add into this roster, give a 6'5" deep threat for Carson Wentz to throw the ball deep to. I'd go with that. So we're going to go Christian Watson there. The Bears are on the board. This is the Khalil Mack pick, and edge could be a position for them, but they have so many guys that they can put there. And honestly, the wide receiver realm is not that great. That a team is going to trade up for a quarterback. That team actually might be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, you want to get your pick at the quarterbacks, and I think Matt Corral or Kenny Pickett are probably going to be the best ones. So having the Steelers trade up a little bit with the Bears would not be a bad idea at all. So let's do that. It's going to be a micro trade anyways. It's a 4th round pick. It really doesn't really do very much. And I do think that quarterbacks should still be in the realm. Again, you gave Trubisky a 2-year contract. You need a guy who can sit a year. So if you do that, going Matt Corral wouldn't be a bad option. Of course, you could look in the corner realm. You could look at the interior defensive line at Travis Jones because Mike Tomlin already emphasized his love for Jordan Davis. You could also go and get another tackle, but I am going to be going Matt Corral out of Ole Miss. Again, he's a guy who has a cannon arm, who has a very, very, very bright future. I think the guy's phenomenal, and you can sit him a year or 2. That's a big plus. The Steelers don't have many holes anymore. They don't. They have some corner holes, but honestly, they signed a bunch of dudes. They brought back Ahkello Witherspoon. I love it. They might still need a corner 1, but you're not going to find it at this point in the draft. Number 49, back with the Saints. And this is going to be Bernhard Ryman out of Central Michigan. He fell here, and they get to celebrate as they get a very high upside tackle. Number 50 with the Dolphins. This is going to be a trade back with a team that wants a quarterback as well. And I think that Desmond Ridder should be off the board. And looking at the teams, I almost went back there. Would have had to restart the whole draft. It would have killed me inside. Looking at teams that could look at another quarterback, there's not many on the board, is there? So you'd actually have to trade out of this round. And honestly, the more I look at it, your best bet is maybe like Sean Ryan, but your guard spots are filled perfectly fine. Honestly, I want to trade out of the spot. I do. And I want to go after a team that probably needs a quarterback. And we've already gone it with the Seahawks. We were done with the Steelers. We could see Washington try to make another quarterback move. I don't think that's very bright. I just don't think it's going to happen. You could see the Colts. It's not going to happen either. It just doesn't make sense. This is just a weird NFL now where there's not many teams that are desperate for a QB. That's just the way it rolls. And I really do think Desmond Ridder is very solid. But we could also see people moving up for Jalen Petrie. And there are some teams here that might be wanting some help in the safety room. One of those teams are the Eagles. But another one of those teams is the Dallas Cowboys. But I'm pretty sure Keanu Neal is trying to go somewhere else. So we're going to do it, the Dallas Cowboys. So, yeah, that kills me. I'm sorry, Eagles fans. For people who think I have an Eagles bias, this is kind of like my proof that I'm not doing that. We're going to send a 4th round and a 6th round pick into here to move up and be able to select Jalen Petrie out of Baylor. Eagles, oh, shit. I bugged out. I chose it with the Eagles. Yeah, no shit that they denied that. But, yeah, we're going to do it with this pick right here. With the Dolphins, I'm human. I try. But yeah, the Dolphins accept the offer, and the Dallas Cowboys are going to move up and select Jalen Petrie here. Again, a very deep edge class, and you're also nabbing him away from the Philadelphia Eagles, who still could use a wide receiver. I just don't see anybody being worth it at this point. But of course, Sean Ryan is here, and I do think that going after him would not be a bad choice at all. Safeties, again, I'm not going to go after another one at this point. Wide receiver, So I'm actually going to go Sean Ryan here. Really good guard to set up the future. Again, if you want to move Landon Dickerson in the center, that's even better. He can play tackle when guys get injured. I think that's an A+ winning move for the franchise. Number 52 with the Bears. A wide receiver should be on their radar. It should be. And when you look at the guys, there's just nobody who's like really standing out as a true high-end wide receiver. Edge rushers, there are some. And I think that Drake Jackson could be a guy who's high on a lot of people's boards. Cam Thomas is pretty damn phenomenal, but I just don't think he has the motor. He graded out as a round 2 guy, but he has like some George Karlaftis flashes. The guy's insane. I mean, it is the second round pick. We'll go Cam Thomas here for the Bears. So I dig it. Number 53 for the Packers. This could be a traded pick. I really don't think that there's anybody special on the board. I don't. I'm not vibing with most of these guys on the board right now. Maybe DeMarvin Leal could be a fun guy that you bring in. You could get another edge rusher to kind of like be an instant impact, but you know what? We'll go Travis Jones. You got to get somebody who can continue making pressure from the inside. Helping out that defensive front could certainly be a very solid move for that. Number 54 with the Patriots. This is going to be a corner, and Roger McCreary could certainly fit. And I think that's where I'm going to go. But actually, Martin Emerson, he's not fast enough, is he? We'll go Roger McCreary here out of Auburn. He has very short arms, but he had a very good year. He's been very consistent. I like him. Number 55 with the Cards. I'm thinking of teams that should just trade up for a QB. And they're just not coming to mind, guys. They're not. I'm just looking at Jesus. Don't do that to me. I'm just looking at it. And the Saints, do you want to trade an NFC and get that? I'm not vibing with it, guys. And we need an edge rusher as well. We're going to go Nick Bonito here at Oklahoma, kind of be your version of what Hassan Reddick was for you. Number 56, you got the Dolphins on the board, I think again. And, wide receiver still should be in this category. It's just not. It's just not a vibe, which is really weird because I do think that the team's pretty damn, I don't think it's perfect, but it is the way it is. I think that maybe going after wide receiver still should be the move. We're going to go Jalen Tolbert out of South Alabama. Really good deep threat. He ran actually in the 4.4s, so that was a big plus. And he has a good frame, 6'2", 6'3", about 190 pounds. And he's just really good at ball tracking as well. Big plus for the guy out of South Alabama. 57 with the Bills. Another team that needs absolutely nothing. They just got rid of Cole Beasley. So I do think going after Calvin Austin is not out of the question. We're going to do that. Get the ball in Calvin Austin's hands. They try to get J.D. McKissick as well. So being able to get that and having an instant impact of wide receiver is going to be a big plus. Number 58, back with the Falcons. You guys need some edge help here. I will get it for you. Drake Jackson out of USC is going to be an instant impact for your roster. 59 with the Packers. Again, we got quarterbacks out of the wazoo on the board. They should be coming off. We can't trade with the Lions in this division either. But we might want to trade with a team like the Packers. And not the Packers, Jesus. I keep saying that every time. We'll go with the Giants here. We'll move up with the Giants. I think that's fair. The Giants are going to make a quick move up here from 67. They're going to be giving up a 4th round pick. Again, makes sense for about the value that you jump. And with that, they're actually going to be targeting Desmond Ridder out of Cincinnati. A very similar guy, has a very strong arm, good guy to sit and be able to nurture in this scheme. Again, when the value is just worth it, it's worth it. And I think that it's worth it. Number 60 with the Buccaneers. I don't think they need much. I really don't. Jamari Sawyer could be a guy who can play everywhere, but they might go back-to-back quarterbacks in round 2 because they were not confident at all in the future of their quarterback. And Kenny Pickett at this point is certainly worth it. So call me crazy. This might be the worst part of the mock draft for you guys, but Kenny Pickett is going to be going to the Buccaneers, going after 2 pretty safe quarterbacks in back-to-back drafts. Number 61 with the Niners. This is going to be a corner, and it's going to be Martin Emerson. I think that he works really well with the scheme and provides a much-needed help to the Niners. And then 62, we got the Kansas City Chiefs, and wide receiver is not on the needs list. They got Juju Smith-Schuster. I still think going after Marcus Jones would be a great option for this team. I really do. Can play slot safety as well. He's going to be a good slot corner. I think that you offer a lot to the team. Marcus Jones out of Houston, big plus. Number 63 with the Bengals. Again, I'm not really a huge fan of anything here. We'll go Trey McBride, though. I know that you guys, I think, brought on somebody, but at the same time, sometimes the value is too good to pass on. Last but not least, the Broncos are sitting here at 64, and Brian Asamoah is on the board. I don't care who else is. I have a first-round grade on the guy. Linebacker is still a position of big need. So that is going to be the draft, guys. Thank you guys so much for all your patience with me as well. I would love some good feedback down in the comment section below because I made some really risky picks. And honestly, it can only get better from here for some of the people who hate it, right? So thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys on the far side. Peace.